Hi everybody, my name's Jenny and I've started a little bit of a stress into strength series, and I'm just going for a walk through the trails to the lake to share some serenity and beauty with you as we talk about that triggers list. If you haven't seen the triggers list, I will show you as soon as I get set up here. And let's unpack it. Let's look at some of the ways that we can deal with those triggers, deal with those stresses, and get them out of our life. I brought the list. Now, some of you may have looked at this and thought, I'm not even looking at that. I'm like a 10 on everything, and I don't want to look at my stress because it stresses me out. But if we don't, it gets pushed down and it will fester and come out in other really unhealthy ways. And we don't want that. So let's take a look at how to get to the root of some of this stuff, okay? If something is a 10 for you, that means that it's probably piled up and festered for a really long time. And because we never looked at it, it continues to grow. So all of these things can have different impacts on different people. But there's a root to every single one of them. For example, if you have the stress of going to a new place for the first time, look at what is it about going to a new place that stresses you out? Is it the unknown, the uncertainty? And that can be directly related to your ego, to our human part of ourself that wants to know. We need rational, logical sense of things from our ego point, from our very human self. But the divine part of us has an all-knowing within us, that we're going to figure it out, that we have the tools within us, the skills, the ability to problem solve, to make decisions on the fly if we have to get through anything. We really can. And see how you can unpack each and every one of these things to get to what is the real underlying root. Having too much to do can be a huge stress for so many people, but do we look at how we balance our time and really make use of our time? Again, unload that. If there's things that you can change in that routine in your day, do it. Personally, for me, I have to have like 2.5 hours in the morning before I do anything. If I had a 7 o'clock shift, I was up most likely by about 5 o'clock, so that I had enough time to set my pace for the day, to do my yoga, to get into my mindset so that I could be at my best putting myself forward out into the world that day. That's important to me, because if I've got so much that I have to do, then I want to be in the right headspace to move through it with grace. Okay, wind is blowing things around here. Let me reset up. Okay. There's definitely a root cause to everything. And if we haven't looked at those things, then you get into these stages and phases of stress. And when you get to that fourth stage, it talks about being completely disengaged, right? We no longer are able to cope with anything because it's all become too much, and we just need to remove ourselves from everything in order to just cope. And that's where depression and anxiety and all of this stuff really take hold. And it's important, please, to understand you need to talk it out, okay? Talk to someone, and not someone who's going to say, oh, well, should have thought of that before, or could have done something different, but you didn't, and look where you're at now, and oh, sounds good on paper, but really, take a look at that, and is it really going to work, and like, what are you thinking? And if they make you question yourself more than you're already questioning yourself, talk to somebody who is going to raise you up, who's going to tell you that you do have the ability to do anything you want to do and help you believe it. And there's so many things online that you can turn to now. So many counselors, psychologists, and effective ways to work through your stress. Write it out. Get into journaling. There's so many things that you can do to help yourself through the stress. I'm looking for my notes where counseling and psychology, I would not be where I am today without it. I'll tell you right now that my psychologist that I had for over 10 years was the greatest thing that I ever could have had. One reason why counseling psychology is amazing, because it's not a friend. It's not somebody who you share everything with and then you have to say, how are you doing? And then give your time and energy to their problems or challenges and struggles when you don't have it. This can be a completely one-sided, self-centered, going in to work on you and not have to put your interest and care into the other person. They're there simply just to walk you through your thought process and help you unpack everything. If you believe in praying, we need to know that we have an army above us. We're never alone. And just look up and ask for help. Ask for answers. Ask sometimes just simply for clarity. And that can really help, because you will get answers when you do that. And if you don't believe in that, then pray to yourself. Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself for the answers. You are directly in line with the source. So whatever you believe, just go for it. Ask questions. Write, journal, and let your heart puke. Don't be afraid to cry. That is so important, that we allow all of the yuck that's within us to come out. And crying, how can that not be the most healing thing? Our eyes are the windows to our soul. Water is cleansing. We are mostly water. We need to allow it to come out. And crying, weeping, I call it letting your heart puke, because how else does all of that come out? And so often in life we're taught, what are you crying for? Like I remember being told all the time, I'll give you something to cry about. You were taught to suck it up. There's no reason to be crying. If you feel something and you need to let it out, give yourself permission to do that. It is so, so therapeutic. Let your heart puke. It's wonderful. And you'll see that releasing it can really be effective. It's so important to release it. So if you can write down the things that stress you out, and then tear it up, burn it, do something ceremonial that's going to say, like, I'm completely done with this and I'm letting it go. Don't hang on to things anymore. Really look through this checklist and identify the root causes of each of them. Where does it come from? If you have, one of the things here is fear of being in front of people, being in a large crowd or meeting new people, or those kinds of things. Could it have been something from childhood? Go back and look at, where did it come from? Because you'll find those root causes, and as soon as you can look at them and go, that's where that came from, you can say, okay, well, I'm not that person anymore. I've grown so much. I have so much more wisdom and ability now. It doesn't have to be the same way. What I'm hanging on to is old, and let me try something new. Can't hurt to try. That's all we can do, is take baby steps towards our happiness. Only you know what that looks like. And for each and every one of these things on here, you have the answers within you. You really do. You just have to look for them and talk to somebody. Write it out. Allow your thoughts to just freely flow. No one needs to read what you're writing. It's for you. Take that time for you. I really hope that the stuff that I'm sharing helps. And if there's something particular, specifically on that list that you're having a hard time with, shoot me a message and let me know what it is so that I can give you more specifics on that particular thing to help you work through it. Breathe in the beauty of each and every day and allow yourself to be honest with yourself. Because the only person that can really, really save you is you. It's not going to be finding someone else to love. It's not going to be the new job, the house, the kids, the car, the picket fence. Those things are all illusions that we believe are going to bring us happiness. But happiness starts on the inside. It starts deep, deep within you. And knowing who you are and appreciating all of the little things that you have in your life. Whether that's your health, your friends, family. Maybe you do absolutely love the job that you do. Awesome. Collect moments, not things. Find who you are and shine as bright as you possibly can in that. We all have stress, but it is all about how you deal with it. Look at the roots. Find your peace with it. There is a lesson or there is a blessing in each of the things you have experienced in your life. And you're going to choose to hang on to that story, that pain, or you're going to choose to let it go. And the day you do, you can be free. I really, really want that for everybody. I'm doing this because I know that it's possible. It takes a lot of work, but it's possible. And I pray that everybody finds their true authentic self and their true definition of happiness and live it every day to the fullest. Much love.